activities.
Awesome. And when did this start? When did this group come together to do this?
When the district decides to close a school, they have what's called a surplus advisory committee. And Steve and I were both on that committee, and that's the committee that decides what to do with the building. And our first recommendation to the district was to give the school back to the community, which the community had built the original school. And we didn't think the district would do it, but they did. They gave it back to us. So about 2012 is when we formed the Clements School Community Center Corporation to take possession of the building. We had to have a corporation to take possession.
Awesome, awesome. And Joann?
I'm Joann Barbero. I'm on the board treasurer, helping with get things going with the school. My passion about it is my grandfather, along with Steve and other families, was involved in original construction of the school.
Wow.
And my dad went there, and I went there, and my son went there. So that's why it means a lot to me, but also for the community. We have had a lot of community interest. A lot of people come to our breakfasts, which is how we're doing some of our fundraising, and just enjoy the history. We're going to have to do some changes, but that's okay, but that's what means a lot to me.
And for our viewers and listeners that don't know where it's located, where is it at?
It's in Clements, California. We are east of Stockton, about 25 miles on 88.
88, okay.
Yes.
All right, and then Steve.
I'm Steve Granlees. I grew up in the area, and my folks were involved in it with this school project years ago. My mom went to the old two-story school and was out of there by the time the big storm hit and made the old two-story building illegal. So my mom and dad, they, along with other couples in the area, they all got together and worked kind of as a steering committee and also a construction crew and helped get this building being built. Some of the old bricks from the old school are still underneath this present school I've been under and done some electrical work underneath and in the building. We do have to upgrade it, and the county has had us make the main hall corridor a fire corridor. So we've had to make a lot of changes, and we're still making a few changes, little by little, but it all takes time, a lot of donated time and effort to succeed. So I'm thinking we're probably about halfway through our process. I don't know, what do you ladies think?
That's what I was kind of thinking
Yeah.
too, depending on how much else we're required to do.
Okay, and going back to Steve, it's awesome that you have the background in construction and electrician. What still needs to be done?
Well, we're kind of tying two classrooms together, so we've had to take out a wall between two classrooms in order to make it large enough so that we can eventually serve dinners in there for fundraisers, because we can't make all of our money on omelet feeds and pancake breakfast and our sales, what do we call them, our yard sales?
Yeah.
So eventually we hope to have some large dinners in there, maybe even a crab feed eventually someday.
Awesome.
And, and also rent it out for wedding receptions and things like that.
That would be awesome.
Family reunions.
Local events, yeah.
We've got a lot of grass around there, so there's outside parking and able to use the grass for whatever. So.
And it's in a beautiful natural area, so actually what you just said makes total sense. And then I know you also had a craft event at Christmas time, is that right?
Yeah, we have boutiques at our breakfasts in the October area, time of the year, and then around Christmas time. So we have those.
Wonderful. And how many people do you estimate? You've mentioned several different possible events, but how many people do you think would end up using the facility in a month or in a year? What's your dream?
We're hoping it gets used a lot, but we don't know. It's taken us a while to get to where we could legally rent the building, and we still have upgrades to do before it's in tip-top shape. but we're also hoping that the grounds can be used like for 4-H, as we were speaking of earlier, for soccer teams to practice, for anything. We had an Olympic roller skater was using the grounds teaching young children, and we donated the grounds. So
Oh, that's awesome.
that's our goal, to donate some and then hopefully rent some just to be able to pay the bills.
Awesome. And how are you promoting this? How do people hear about what's happening?
Right now, we advertise with some big signs that are in front of the school. We're hoping to purchase an LED sign, but they're very expensive, so we're
Yes.
fundraising for that effort. I do a lot of posting on Facebook. We have over 200 names on our email list, so I send out emails. We don't do too much in the newspaper anymore because a lot of people don't get the newspaper
Yeah, it's
out
not
in where
effective.
we live, at least, out in the Clements area.
Mm-hmm. And do you have a website?
We don't have one yet. We have a former student who is working on one, but we do have the Facebook page.
And how about Twitter or Instagram?
I've not gotten involved with that one. That's
Okay.
one I'll have to look
In the
into.
future. Maybe one of the students can do that for
Yeah.
you also. That would be awesome. Well, I can tell you from the events that I've gone to there, it's just very nice, and it's a hometown feel just being at that venue. And it was very personal, and I loved that you had the omelet breakfast. We should talk about the events and how often they are, and when you have pancake versus omelet.
We have an event about every other month just because everybody has a lot of other things going on. And pancakes versus omelets kind of depends on the weather, because pancakes we want to cook outside, and if it's too cold we can't. Omelets do better inside. We also have a yard sale in May that we rent vendor space. We don't take a percentage of their profits. And we have, 25, 30 vendors
Yes.
usually come. It's a
Yeah.
great day, usually around Memorial Day within that couple of week period. So that's been our fundraising. We tried couple dinners a long time ago, and breakfasts were easier and we made as much money, so.
And who's doing the renovations? Are you guys doing hands-on renovations yourself?
Yeah, most of us guys are. I think there's 5 or 6 of us that do most of it.
Wow.
One outsider's helping us a lot, and the fire department, in their off time, some of those fellows from the Clements Volunteer Fire Department, they help.
That's awesome. Your chief
And-
was here last week, which I was impressed that he took the time to come out here.
So,
Yeah, we've been very fortunate to have a lot of capable members to do all the construction. And it's
Right.
mainly all volunteer.
Yeah.
Nobody gets paid.
That's amazing. Do you want to list some of your members and then any organizations or companies that have donated items to you that you want to give a shout out to?
Well, I know San Joaquin Drywall helped us a lot with the hallway that we had to do. They donated drywall.
Right.
I believe it was American Door who donated
It was
thousands of dollars of doors,
Randy Netto. His
Randy
name was
Netto.
Randy Netto.
because all the doors had to be fire rated. The original doors were just regular house doors, and that wasn't acceptable for the new codes.
because now it's public use, it's no longer school use.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a big difference.
Interesting. You wouldn't think it would be that different.
Right. We have we don't know who they are. It's called Anonymous Givers that sends us a check once a year. They're from Antioch. I think they're from Antioch. So we really appreciate that. That helps a lot.
Wonderful. And if someone wants to make a donation, how do they do that? How do they connect with you?
Well, sometimes they message me on Facebook. We have started a GoFundMe page, so I do have that.
What is that page called?
Clements School Community Center. And then they can attend one of our events and actually donate right there.
That's right.
Or our post office box is Post Office Box 743, Clements, California, 95227.
237.
Oh,
no,
237.
you're right, I'm sorry.
227.
Yeah.
227, I'm sorry.
And they can just make it out to CSCC or Clements School Community Center.
What are some of the construction needs coming up? If someone's listening and they can donate, do you need paint, lumber? What do you need?
Yes.
Getting back to the sign, this sign that we really need, it's pushing in the neighborhood of 20,000 to get a decent LED sign. So any donations are more than welcome just for that item alone. There's going to be sheetrock that we're going to need, and a little bit of lumber, not a lot.
Some kind of
right
flooring
now.
when we get
And
there.
then we've got some hardwood flooring we're going to have to add on to. We have a stage to take out between the two classrooms, and that was one item that was, some of the people didn't want to take it out because it's historic, but in order to be able to have a room large enough to serve large dinners, to raise funds for the building, it's going to have to come out. So we're going to lower that section down, and we're going to piece it in with hardwood and make it all one level floor. So we will need some more hardwood, and hardwood isn't cheap because we have to piece it in. So
And earlier we were talking about some of the service clubs. We were talking about Lions. Have you reached out to Lions and Rotary and such to try and get support?
They do help at our yard sale. They cooked, we serve hamburgers and hot dogs for people that are stuck there because there's not too much in the way of restaurants out that way. They have helped us out that way. And in the beginning, I think we got a couple of nice donations from them, but everybody's so busy and we're such a small community and everybody needs. So,
yes, they did make a couple of donations, and they're going to get hit up again because I'm a member of the local Lions Club
Lions
as
Club
well.
also, yeah.
And they're going to get hit up for a couple more donations before this is all over. So anyhow, I'm sure they'll help out because our Lions Club was formed in Clements originally, and so we go back a ways, go back to 1949. So
And
Wow.
the Lions Club and the Mothers Club raised the money to support the school before we became unified. So that was up until '67. It was that the Mothers Club and the Lions Club supported the school, basically.
Wonderful. And how many people are in your organization that are working on this building?
Oh, actually, workers.
Working or fundraising, or there's different
There's
types of work.
Maybe 10 to 15 of us who are really hardcore workers. We have anywhere from 50 to 80 members, but
Oh.
not of them are all active.
And when you say members, is there a membership fee?
Yes.
Okay, and
Yeah.
how do you participate in that?
We have our yearly dues of $15 per person. They're due on January 1st of the year. We have applications out usually at all our events. If anybody, you can email me because we do have an email, and I can send you electronic copy of the
I'd like
registration
that.
form. And, or message me on Facebook and do it that way.
Awesome.
Or just send a check and write membership in the memo. That
Yes,
works.
that works too.
Awesome. And talk about, I know all of you have direct personal connection to the school. Are there particular memories? Can each one of you share a special memory of the school?
Well, since I didn't go to school there, my memories are just teaching there.
But
you
that's
know.
important.
It's-
You make
was-
huge difference in the
yeah,
lives of
it was just
hundreds of
kindergarten and
kids.
first grade. You didn't have to deal with the older kids picking on the little kids. We had no bells. We pushed a doorbell, and that was the bell for the end of recess. It was very relaxing. I knew all the kids' names because I had the afternoon kindergarten. So when they got off on the bus in the morning, I usually greeted them. So I knew all their names and knew their faces, and it was just a really neat place to start your beginning education.
That's awesome. And what were the class sizes like?
On campus at one time, there probably wasn't more than 100 kids. because 25 in each classroom. We had a morning kindergarten, we had 2 first grades, and then we had an afternoon kindergarten. So it's about 100. Library was smack down the middle of the hallway. Lunch was served down the middle of the hallway.
Yeah.
We ate outside on picnic tables during good weather. When it was bad weather, of course, we had to eat inside in our classrooms. All the teachers, we all went to school together.
Oh.
We all graduated from Lodi High in 1969, so we were all friends and neighbors.
How
Nice.
awesome. That's beautiful.
I have memories of being a child and going to school there, and one big one that stands out is fashion shows. They did fashion shows for 2 or 3 years where the moms and the kids, boys and girls, modeled clothes to raise money. It was a lunch and fashion show, and the dads built a ramp into the middle room that we're using up to the stage, and everybody walked the runway and showed off the clothes, and that was one of our big fundraisers. So that's a big memory for me. And then just growing up with practically all my brothers and sisters, we were that close as kids. When I went there in grammar school, there were about 75 of us.
Wow.
And we shared first, second, and third grade was in one room, fourth, fifth, and sixth in another room, and then seventh and eighth was in the third room with the principal.
So then it did expand to other grades. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah,
That was at the beginning.
original. That was the original, yeah.
I see.
I don't remember exactly how many were there when I was there, but our class was one of the largest when I graduated. I think we had 13 eighth graders that graduated. And then after that, it dropped back a little bit size-wise. But some of the kids went on and did sports. I wasn't able to because we had a dairy at the time, and so I was busy helping Dad with that. But we got into high school out of there, and when we were freshmen, and 3 of us could outrun almost any kids in Lodi High School. It was Billy Trulock,
Oh, gosh.
Charles Merton, and myself.
And you remember the names. That's awesome.
And there was only one competitor from Lodi, Eldon Pfeiffer. We'd go back and forth. Sometimes he'd beat me or beat the rest of us, and sometimes we'd beat him. So, it was all good and all fun. We had good teachers. Jerry Steele was our principal at the time, and she never raised her voice. But if you did something wrong, looks could kill.
That's right.
And you would crawl under the desk, literally.
Yeah.
And then we had another teacher there. She was a good-sized lady, and if she slapped you on the back, you knew you'd been hit, and you didn't make that mistake of being a bad boy again. So, fortunately, I never had to go through that, but a couple
Sure,
of my
Steve.
friends did. But anyhow, it was still a good experience, and we didn't have any heating or we had heat, but we didn't have any air conditioning. We had 3 oil stoves in there. Well, oil is unheard of nowadays, as we know. But later on, they finally got some decent heating and air conditioning system in there, thanks to Lodi Unified. So that's part of progress.
Awesome. And when you guys say that you're halfway through, when do you anticipate being finished, or at least having the 2 rooms combined into or melded into one?
We'll probably have that done this year.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I
Because
think,
that's going
I
to
think
give you
so.
a lot more opportunity.
yeah, because we've
Right.
done what we have to do
Yes.
to get our permit. Now we're just doing what we need to do to
Right.
be able to rent it.
And I'm sure as time goes on, there'll be ongoing projects and you'll see
Right.
things that you want to upgrade or make it more elegant or this or that.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's one room, 2 rooms, one are behind the other that we're tying together, and then the other room's off on the west side. And some of us are thinking of making that room kind of like a lounge room. And we may put a bar inside of it. At least that's my projection. It has been for a long time. Because this whole project has been in my mind for the last 12 years. Because I heard rumors Lodi Unified was going to shut it down as a school, and then I didn't hear anything for a couple of years, and then 2 years later I heard it again. And then I think I ran into Sandy or something, and it gelled from there. Anyhow, we were thinking about turning that other room into a lounge. It would be a good lounge place and maybe put a little bar in it on one side, which is very easy to do. And so it gives people a place, if you're gonna have a dinner, it gives people a place to mill around, talk, maybe have a cocktail or two and that type of thing.
And that would go well with any large event that was there, crab
Yes.
feed, dinner, that's perfect.
Well, and like Steve said, many of us, we've been at this for a long time. So it's about 2011, 2012 that we got started with all of this, and we're still going. We didn't actually get possession of the school until 2014
Wow.
because the district found out, I don't know whether I should,
Go for it.
the district found out that originally when they did the unification, they never got the title to the school.
And they also didn't buy it, they just incorporated.
Right.
We
So
just
they
became
never-
part of Lodi Unified. So that's part of the reason I'm thinking that they gave it back to us, because they didn't buy it to begin with.
And so they
Awesome.
never owned it either, so
Right.
they couldn't give it to us.
The title still had my grandfather's name on it and two other family names on
Wow.
it.
How
Yeah, I-
cool is that?
So they
Yeah.
had to go
I
through.
hopefully you
I have
have
it.
that
I
framed.
have it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's hard, whether or not you want to frame it and show it there, or whether you want to keep that at home.
Yeah,
And I think that's a little bit of some of our problems. We've been at it so long that I think some of the people are thinking we're never going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But we're all very committed to getting it going, and having our breakfasts as often as we do, like Joann said, I think it's been a great way to show the community that we are working, we are serious, we are going to make this a community center for everybody.
Well, and it takes time, and you're raising funds all by yourself. You're not getting government funds. What about applying for a grant?
we have talked about that and so far not done anything, because we have to be specific about what our goals are. But I think it's something that we're gonna have to look to in the future, because we're just now with our breakfast making enough money to pay the bills and keep things going, and it's without donations, our forward progress is pretty slow.
Which is understandable. And I'm hoping that once you have those two rooms together and you can do more, and people will see it more as a viable facility for the community, that you're going to really escalate what you're generating.
Absolutely. Even daycare, we had people that were interested in renting it for daycare, and one of the rooms that would be wonderful, like that third room. So there's a lot of options.
Once we get this sign in out in front, we can advertise this on our sign, what it's available for.
Right.
That way, when the public is driving by, they'll be able to see that, oh, this building is available for rental purposes and
Right.
various types of things. So
Right.
that's another reason we need to get this sign in as soon as possible.
The
And
sign
we're-
definitely would help you.
It will definitely, and we're hoping to get a partnership in the sign. We've reached out to a couple of corporations, haven't heard anything, but it's something that we can even advertise for other people
I was gonna
and bring in
suggest
a
that
little
to you.
income too, so.
That's what the fairgrounds does with their LED sign, and that's what a lot of facilities do. And maybe Lions would advertise, or Rotary or other organizations
Absolutely.
would use that to advertise, and just to promote if other organizations are having events there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wonderful. That's awesome. All right. Any final comments? Anything that we haven't touched on?
Not that I think of. We went through,
Yeah, we covered everything on this.
pretty much, yeah, pretty much.
We just, we want to make it a place for the community.
Right.
And
And we're not about making money, we're about keeping the doors open, but just having the community access. We are definitely a nonprofit, so,
We just need enough money for routine maintenance, that type of thing. So,
And-
gotta keep it afloat.
what a huge, amazing labor of love. That's awesome. That's
it
magnificent.
is too.
Yeah,
Huh.
it is.
I would say in
Yeah.
another 5 or 6 years, we'd probably have most of this done, and we'll be in better shape as far as the building is concerned.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And I know you said there's 10 or 15 people that are actively working on the building. Did you want to give a shout out to any of them?
Well, our construction guys, to me, are doing a wonderful job. We have Dave Ingram, we have Tom Barbero,
My husband.
we have Belvin, and I don't know Belvin's last name.
Cousin. It's not cousin. I'm
Anyway,
sorry, I
Steve
can't think of it right.
Granlees has
Yeah,
worked. Ray Sanguinetti comes and works. Ed Jones. A lot of hard, dedicated
Sid
workers.
Nichols has
Sid
helped.
Nichols, yeah, he mows the lawn for us, and we have lots of lawn to
Yes.
mow. Who else?
As Clements Fire Department fellows, I don't know their names though.
The volunteers, yeah.
they're
They're
volunteers.
wonderful.
And they've been over there a number of times.
We should tell the funny story about getting the carpet out of the hall.
Go ahead. I wasn't in on that
You weren't
part.
there?
No.
So the carpet is glued and there's beautiful hardwood underneath, and they were ripping it up and it was coming up in little pieces. So they finally got one of the firemen to go get his Jeep, pull it to the front door. They got up as much as they could and they ripped the carpet out with the Jeep out
the
the front
winch.
door.
With a winch.
Hopefully you have pictures of that.
I don't know.
We don't. Nobody
don't.
took pictures for me. And so, yeah, well, that would have been cool because
would've
now
been
we're
awesome.
worried about how to get the carpet up in these two rooms
Okay,
we're
so the
combining.
carpet's out in the back room.
Oh, is it out already?
Yep.
All right.
So it wasn't
It's
too
only
hard
one.
this
It's
time.
only one room left.
One room
Yeah.
left. Well,
Wonderful.
actually two, but one of them we're not worried about right now.
Yeah, when we get ready to do that, the big room, we can get his Jeep again and we can pull through the back door at the north end of the building.
And
So
get
we'll-
pictures
we'll
this
get a
time.
picture of
Get
that
pictures this
next
time.
time.
Yep.
And what about, I know we talked about obviously money and we talked about some construction items. What about food items for the omelets and the pancakes?
We can always use like plates and napkins and silverware and cups and pancake mix and syrup and coffee.
And we have SKS Enterprises in Clements. They are an egg processing company. And they have donated eggs for our omelet breakfast, and they always give us a good discount
really good
Awesome.
discount. Yeah.
for the eggs. So we
That's
really
thanks to
appreciate
Sandy.
that.
Awesome. And you usually have some raffle prizes as well.
Raffle prices, definitely a 50-50 raffle. We don't always have raffle prizes, just depends on how busy everybody is. But it's always fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what about people just donating their time?
We have our work days. We don't usually publish them. Well, you put them out on Facebook, don't you?
Sometimes I put them on Facebook. Yeah, we have beautification days that we call them, and we have a large yard with a lot of sycamore trees that have a lot of leaves. So we usually meet at least once a month, once every 5-6 weeks, to work on the yard. And definitely we work before the event. Generally, I post those on Facebook, so people can check our Facebook page, or if you're on our email list, they get emails.
And have you reached out to master gardeners, because they'll go and provide gardening services for different
Wow, did
No,
not know that.
didn't know
No,
about
we
that one.
haven't.
Okay, my husband's a master gardener, so
Oh.
we'll connect you and,
Okay.
and see if we can get some people out there to plant things. And do you have any future goals for the outside? I know you talked about using this as a wedding, like maybe having an arch or anything like that.
We have lots of ideas. And I'm sure something like that will be,
Would be wonderful.
thought about. We talked about having maybe the Scouts, Eagle Scouts, come out and make a barbecue area or a fire pit. We're talking about making less grass, making a larger parking area, because we don't have a lot of parking, and being on Highway 88, we need ample parking space. So we're thinking about removing some of the grass.
And I would also encourage you, they're recruiting for this year's class for Leadership Lodi. And as a nonprofit, you can reach out to them with a project
Oh,
that
I was
you'd
wondering,
like.
I've seen that on the newspaper. In the
So you should be able to reach out to them, because Clements doesn't have a leadership. I don't know how they'd feel, but it would be worth it to talk to the chamber and see what they
Right.
say.
Can't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
Especially you have heritage in Lodi, and I thought that was so cool when you said that all of the teachers went to school at Lodi.
Yeah.
Very awesome.
Some of the outside, some of our sidewalks we're gonna have to replace. The concrete has deteriorated quite a bit, and so some of those we're gonna have to replace them And one of them we're gonna have to kind of reroute it a little bit for possible future expansion of one area on the front of the building. But I have a habit of looking ahead 50 years because I've seen things that we didn't plan on 20 years, 25 years. So I've gotten into the habit of looking 50 years or more ahead, so that we
That's a
don't,
good thing.
so that we don't have to do things over again.
Right.
2 and 3 times. It's not cost effective to operate that way, so. Anyhow, I just thought I'd mention about the sidewalks.
And what about parking? How much parking is out there for like how many people?
Not much.
Can we get 20 cars? And if we put them around back, another 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, not a ton of parking.
No.
And they can park on the highway, but that's not real safe.
Advisable.
Yeah.
We do allow them to park in certain areas on the grass, like when we have our schoolyard market, they park around the perimeter of the playground area there. So yeah, that's a big issue,
Yeah.
is parking.
Anything else that any of you want to add?
No, we don't have another event planned, so I can't say come to our.
Right. Right.
But,
Follow you on Facebook.
Yeah, follow us on Facebook. We-
April pancakes, but we don't have a date yet.
And the pancakes are excellent. We have a secret recipe.
Mm-hmm.
Omelets are huge. When we do our omelet breakfasts, most of us girls all make homemade bread. So we have different kinds of homemade bread to go along with it. When we have summertime and it's fruit season, we have fresh fruit that's usually grown by many
Your
of the
family?
members.
Awesome.
So they're good homemade breakfasts.
Yep.
A lot of that good fruit comes out of Sandy's mother's yard.
Family's yard, that's right.
That's awesome.
yeah.
Very cool. I just love the deep connection that all of you have, and it's obvious that this is just your heart and soul. And it's amazing, and hopefully it continues to flourish, and hopefully you're able to combine those 2 rooms this year and just
I
be
think
able
we'll
to
make
do
Yep,
much,
we
much
have
more.
to now.
Yeah, we're
It's all torn apart.
All right. Well, I thank all 3 of you for coming out today and for the amazing work that you're doing for the community. And with that, I'm going to sign off.